Domi. Now that's a name that has become also well known within the past 30 years, thanks in part to Max's father Ty and Max himself, both playing in the NHL. But the last name is a rarity in and of itself in Western culture, as there were only 32 Canadian residents recorded that had this last name in 2014, and only 152 in the United States. Reason being, the Domi surname originated from Albania, where Ty's and Max's ancestors immigrated from. And the last name actually is much more common here, coming in at the 78th most common last name as of 2014 as well. And while you may know that Max has had type 1 diabetes since being diagnosed at age 12, what you may not know is besides having an insulin pump and testing supplies, he also has his own personal service dog that takes man's best friend to a whole new level. After learning of her son's condition, Leanne Domi, Max's mother, made it her quest to make Max's dream of playing in the NHL possible. And by doing so, she found a very special friend in turn for her son, in Orion. Orion is trained specifically to sense when his owner's blood sugar is out of range. By using his innate keen sense of smell, when Domi's sugar strays from the norm, he simply grabs onto the Bringzel, which resembles a paint roller, to alert Max so he can remedy the situation. He's right 99% of the time, Domi says. Growing up alongside many NHL products besides just his father always had the forward naturally in all. And due to admiration, Max wore the number 13 in tribute to his childhood idol, in Matt Sundin, and has even declared it his new number come next season, for Montreal. But Domi hasn't always sported the number considered most superstitious. After being diagnosed with diabetes as a preteen, he promptly changed it to 16 in tribute to Bobby Clarke, who was a Hall of Famer that played with the same disease and succeeded. But since being traded to Montreal, as 16 is a retired number, Domi is being forced to switch back. But according to him, 13 is still just as good. I was shocked that 13 wasn't retired yet, and I was like, alright, well, I'll switch back to that one. And I'm really excited, Domi says. And while Max admits to loving all kinds of music, from country to EDM, his favorite artist that seemingly always tops the list is Drake. During an interview with Paul Bissonnette, Domi admits that he has had the pleasure of meeting the Toronto native, but for him, he was in reverse role, as Drake treated him like any other fan, and didn't recognize a fellow celebrity in Domi. He had no idea who I was. He didn't care who I was, Domi says. But for Max, it was still memorable, and the meeting hasn't changed his outlook on his top artist one bit. Max, like many NHL players, has admitted to having multiple friends around the league, from Anthony Duclair to Drew Downey, and most importantly, Bo Horvat. But what's so intriguing about the pair is before they were OHL teammates, they were actually rivals. As the two forwards were both competing in the annual Brick tournament in 2005, Domi and Horvat were easily the best players for their respective teams, with Max leading the Toronto Bulldogs and Bo the Toronto Pro Hockey. Horvat's team won the tournament, but once the two met again years later, they would be suiting up for the same team in the London Knights. From there, their longtime friendship came into play. And after joining the NHL, the tables were turned once again, and the two were division rivals for the past few seasons. But the rivalry hasn't hurt their friendship at all, but instead has made it more interesting. It's weird seeing him in a different colored jersey, and it was definitely weird playing against him, says Horvat. But it's fun. You want to beat him for bragging rights.